Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the continuation of the World Class Championship Wrestling review series. We are moving through May of 1983. This is the May 21st edition for the year 1983. Not a terribly notable show, but definitely some stuff worth seeing, just for the sake of the wrestling itself, not necessarily angle-moving show. We once again see Paul the Butcher Vachon, this time against Toriatsu of the, Arman Hussein stable. I don't know that they were ever given a name, but Yatsu has been a martial artist for the better part of 6 months, if not more, being pushed pretty strongly. Yet another victory for him. Vachon is protesting the involvement of Hussein, among other things. Match is really meant to be a showcase for Yatsu, who has taken some, I don't know that I'd say devastating losses, but lost a little bit of luster because of all of the various entries to the area in a consistent basis. Kicks and sweeps and the like lead to Yatsu getting the victory, followed by a power slam that is the final move to put the end to his adversary. We then see a match that had been hyped a couple of weeks before, although the date of which not officially announced, but the inference that the match would take place was there almost from the beginning of his entry, and that is Gentleman Chris Adams against the Mongol of Skandor Akbar's Devastation Incorporated fame. Mongol, again, a larger gentleman. Adams shows that, kind of British style, although more Americanized than average. A lot of hammerlocks, a lot of arm ringers and the like. Mongol using his weight to gain an advantage over his adversary whenever possible. And it is clear that the Mongol is not terribly impressed with his adversary in terms of the size. There is a rather noticeable size differential, and so Mongol thinks he's going to get a victory relatively easily. At least that's the way the match appears. The Mongol does get a momentum shifter when Adams is sent to the outside of the ring, about halfway through the bout, and just a simple shoulder tackle is what kind of precipitates the beginning of that. But again, both men tackle together. I guess the inference is that they hit heads together, whatever the case may be, and Mongol gets a little bit more of his wind back, so to speak, gets tied up in the ropes, and then finally does get free. Enziguri front back leg round kick by the much more athletic Adams. Adams, who does go on to train Steve Austin, does go on to be a mainstay in World Class, among other things, and is not intimidated by a guy being much larger than himself. And the referee is trying to hold him back as, continuing things in the match does seem to end after a time limit draw type nature. There also is a dive to the outside, I guess what we would call a tope today. Probably one of the first ones seen in the United States, maybe certainly in Texas, I would imagine. Can't imagine anyone else doing that type of stuff in Texas. Obviously, Mexico and the Lucha Libre, you'd see it, but if you cross the border, but not in an Americanized territory. I don't think in '83 that's a major thing. We then move on to a Jimmy Garvin match. Jimmy Garvin and Johnny Mantell. Brother to Ken Mantell, who I know he does some booking for the Texas office, or the World Class office more specifically, in the 80s. I don't know that he's booking here, but it would make sense that if you had the book, you'd bring in your brother, right? Anyway, So, I mean, the Mantell Garvin match, Garvin gives him a lot, considering that Garvin had been the Texas champion a couple of times by this point, and kind of Sunshine on the outside getting frustrated by the lack of, I guess, credit, support given to her man. Garvin is always a guy who does like to slow the match down. You see a lot of that here. However, Mantell not exactly looking to be a speed demon either. Very basic match. Garvin does the majority of the bumping for his adversary, whereas Mantell kind of uses holds to get him through. A backbreaker by um, Garvin is the victory point for him, and he is satisfied with the victory. We then move to a rematch that has happened multiple times and probably will several more times in the next several months as Terry Gordy and Kevin Von Erich do battle. This is a standard match for the two of them, really worth going out of your way to see if you like the Freebirds Von Erich feud. I think they always do well to move that feud forward, always putting heat back on the heels on the Freebirds, but never burying the Von Erichs. So it's an interesting dichotomy where 50-50 booking has become such a thing. I think there is a value to keeping everybody strong week to week in a main event way without anybody while still getting heat. Kevin is able to hold Gordy down for quite a while, uses everything from arm bars to leg locks and the like. It is clear, too, that he is, I guess, the more, I don't know if I'd say flexible, but uses the body scissors and actually gets several minutes out of that. Gordy, obviously, the power guy. Kevin, the more agile, quicker, and more versatile guy. Abdominal stretch held for several minutes. Gordy with a bit shorter hair. I'm not sure that he completely cut the hair, but definitely a bit of a different look, or at least looks a little different here. The battle for the claw is quite a thing. Gordy is able to get away from that at least for a little while. Then we see Gordy miss a double chop type maneuver, and the sleeper follows it up. Obviously, we do see, and what's interesting is even in 1983, you do see sleepers that turn into chokes and the like. You also see the Von Erichs upon occasion will use the ropes for leverage, even though they're baby faces. So there's even in 1983, I think when people complain about the blurring of the lines between babyface and heel, sometimes baby faces can do heelish things, and sometimes heels can be heroes for a moment. Anyway, so that's just an outside thought here. But if you like these two gentlemen, then match is worth the way going out of the way to see. Big vertical suplex near the end of the match, probably 2 or 3 minutes before the end by Gordy. Gordy always willing to use a power move at the right time, and got to remember he's still only in his early 20s, 21, 22 here. Gordy goes up, tries to cross body from the top rope, doesn't get it. Kevin, however, does same and is successful, gets the win, and Gordy is less than happy with that. Kevin Von Erich talks about wanting another shot at the World Championship, which he will eventually get in the summer, and we close the program. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe, like, comment below. But we move again further into May of 1983 in World Class.